Anyone who believes in indefinite growth on a physically finite planet is either mad or an economist.
We don't want to focus politics on a notion that involves the rejection of principles around which a large majority of our fellow citizens organize their lives.
We are not as endlessly manipulable and as predictable as you would think.
Today I'd like to share with you a little about the art and craft of creating contemporary illusions. Let me talk about several of the elements that go into creating magic. The first of these elements is technology. While magic might be thought of to owe much to superstition, in fact, the opposite is the case. You probably know the dictum of science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That is true, and magicians have known it for over 2,000 years. Around 150 BC, Hero of Alexandria described how the temples of ancient Greece were filled with magic. Altars burst into flames. Hold on. Doors mysteriously opened. Musical instruments played as if touched by the gods. Now, Hero, a mathematician, also explained how these miracles were accomplished. They were all magic tricks, applications of the little-known sciences of hydraulics, pneumatics, and chemistry. But to the temple visitors, this was magic. Now, magic as an entertainment form has long separated itself from the gods and superstition, but it has always maintained its relationship with science. Now, a second important element in magic is psychology. Well, magic does not depend on deceiving the eye. It depends on deceiving the brain. Magicians know that given the opportunity, the brain can be lazy. To save time and energy, the brain looks for patterns in the environment. The brain recognizes elements and assumes that the things it sees now are exactly the same as the things it has seen before. Edward de Bono described the brain as a pattern matching machine. Now let me show you what I mean by showing you a card trick. And to make sure that I don't use any sleight of hand, I'm going to use some very big cards. And I want you all to please play along. So I prepared 5 virtual playing cards. And I want you all to remember one of these 5 cards. Remember the suit and remember the value of your chosen card. And make up your mind now, okay? You got one. I'm going to mix up the cards. Yeah. And I'm going to remove one of the 5 cards. How about this one? Now, if I was right, then your card is now gone. Well, did I worry? Don't worry about it. My card actually disappeared through. The trick is called the Princess Card Trick and was devised by magician Henry Hardin. It's a very good example of what psychologists today call change blindness. But the most interesting thing is that the trick was devised over 100 years ago, in 1903. Magicians were exploiting a weakness in our ability to make sense of information long before the phenomenon was explored in science. Now, a third distinctive element to magic that differentiates it from almost any other form of art is secrecy. Traditionally, magicians are seen as keepers of secrets. The motto of the Magic Circle here in London is In Docilis Privata Loci, which is Latin for not apt to disclose secrets. Magicians rarely share their findings with the wider world, and there's a very good reason for this. If you know the secrets to a trick, it's very unlikely to fool you. Myself, I believe in a wider definition of magic. I'm not just interested in fooling my audience. I want them to have a magical experience, the kind that cinema, theater, literature, music, and art can provide. I like to collaborate with others, with writers, software programmers, artists, designers, sound engineers, and technologists. The animated version of the Princess Card Trick wouldn't have been possible without the input of some very creative people. Together, we took a psychological trick devised in 1903 and made it into a trick that can be enjoyed in a large theater, on the internet, on television, or in any other form of media. So when devising illusions for the 21st century, secrecy is sometimes better replaced with collaboration. Now, my own specialty is combining digital technology and magic. And about 5 years ago, I started an exercise in openness and inclusiveness by reaching out into the open source software community to create new digital tools for magic. I'd like to share with you something which came out of these collaborations. It's an augmented reality projection, tracking, and mapping system, a digital storytelling tool, and I have it right here. Maybe we could bring down the lights. Let's try this. Sorry, I forgot the floor. Let's do it again. All right. Hey. Let's try something else. Okay, want to come over here? Come on. Hello. Hey. Go for it. Bye-bye. So in the spirit of an open source magician, I'm going to give you a quick peek behind the curtain on how this system actually works. So in front of me is a video projector. Mounted on top of it is a high-speed camera. The high-speed camera has an infrared passband filter, which enables it to see infrared LED tracking markers, which are in the corner of the canvas. We created a piece of software which about 60 to 120 times every second tracks the location of the canvas and projects the video image precisely on it. So I can move the canvas no matter how I move it, the video image will always stick to it. When this illusion was created, this interactivity with the drawing was really not possible. Like, tablet computers were not what they are now, and in that sense it was not only magical, but offered a vision of a future where gestural sensing and projection might be ubiquitous and intelligent. In the spirit of open source, I developed a software solution for multimedia artists. I have worked extensively with multiple videos on screen and knew how difficult it was to synchronize the screens and how costly it was. So we created a piece of software which actually allows these video screens to be synchronized and at zero cost. But sometimes people find it really hard to imagine what a tool can do before they have seen an example of it at work. So I developed the following piece, which I thought would show the software off to its best advantage and be a catalyst for creativity. One of my favorite magicians is Carl Germain. He had this wonderful trick where a rose bush would bloom right in front of your eyes. But it was his production of a butterfly that was the most beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the creation of life.
When asked about deception, he said this:
Magic is the only honest profession. A magician promises to deceive you, and he does.
Now, I like to think of myself as an honest magician. I use a lot of tricks, which means that sometimes I have to lie to you. I feel bad about that. But people lie every day. Hold on.
Hey, where are you?
I'm stuck in traffic. I'll be there soon. You've all done it.
I'll be ready in just a minute, darling.
It's just what I've always wanted.
You were great!
Deception. It's a fundamental part of life. Now, polls show that men tell twice as many lies as women, assuming the women they ask told the truth. We deceive to gain advantage and to hide our weaknesses. The Chinese general Sun Tzu said that all war was based on deception. Oscar Wilde said the same thing of romance. Some people deceive for money. Let's play a game. 3 cards, 3 chances.
1-5 will get you 10, 10 will get you 20. Now, where's the lady? Where is the queen?
This one? Sorry. You lose. Well, I didn't deceive you. You deceived yourself. Self-deception. That's when we convince ourselves that a lie is a truth. Now, sometimes it's hard to tell the two apart. Compulsive gamblers are experts in self-deception. They believe they can win. They forget the times they lose. Our brain is very good at forgetting. Bad experiences are quickly forgotten. Bad experiences quickly disappear. Which is why in this vast and lonely cosmos, we are so wonderfully optimistic. Our self-deception becomes a positive illusion. Why movies are able to take us onto extraordinary adventures. Why we believe Romeo when he says he loves Juliet. And why single notes of music, when played together, become a sonata and conjure up meaning. That's Clair de Lune. Its composer Claude Debussy said that art was the greatest deception of all. Art is a deception that creates real emotion, a lie that creates a truth. And when you give yourself over to that deception, it becomes magic. Thank you. I began this talk by mentioning science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke, who said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. The work of France's greatest magician, Jean-Robert Houdin, is an excellent example of this. Robert Houdin was in many ways an amateur scientist, and not only employed technology in his magic, but in his private life too. In the 1850s, he had installed electric lighting, electronic gates, and even a burglar alarm in his home, long before they were made available to the general public. What Robert Houdin was doing was creating illusions that allowed his audience to visualize future technologies. Magic is a unique tool for pre-visualizing the future. Magicians show their audiences what it would be like to fly, read minds, have superpowers, teleport, appear and disappear. Magicians are prototyping the future every day. Now, I'd like to finish with something I developed recently. You probably all heard of Google's Project Glass. It's new technology. When you look through them, you see the world around you augmented with data. Names of places, monuments, buildings, maybe one day even the names of the people that pass you on the street. I brought with me my own illusion glasses. They're a prototype, they're kind of big. But when you look through them, you get a glimpse into the mind of a cyber illusionist. So let me show you what I mean. Hello, audience. All we need is a playing card, and any card would do. Take a card, and let's mark it so we recognize it when we see it again. Woohoo! Okay, and let's start up the system.
System ready. Acquiring image.
Now, for those of you who don't play cards, a deck of cards is made up of 4 suits: hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. The cards are amongst the oldest of symbols and have been interpreted in many different ways. Each of the 4 suits corresponds with one of the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall.
My favorite season is winter.
Yeah, mine too, thank you. Winter is like magic. It involves visual wonder, drastic change, and the delicate balance between its physical states. In each of the 4 suits, there's a total of 13
Each card
cards.
represents a phase of the 13 lunar cycles.
So over here, we have high tide. Over here, we have low tide. And in the middle, we have the moon.
The moon is one of the most potent symbols of magic.
There are 2 colors in a deck of cards. There's the color red and the color black, representing the constant change from day to night.
Marco, I did not know you could do that.
Well, thank you. In a complete deck of cards, there are 52 cards corresponding with the 52 weeks of the year.
If you total all the spots on a deck of cards, the result is 365.
That's the exact number of days we have between of our birthdays. Make a wish.
Don't tell or it won't come true.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was on my 6th birthday that I received my first deck of cards. And ever since then, I've performed magic for boys and girls, men and women, husbands and wives, kings and queens.
And who are these?
Mischief makers. Watch. Hey, wake up.
Whoa!
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let me see what you got.
Presenting my pogo stick.
Careful. Well, but today I'm performing for a different kind of audience. Today I'm performing
Sign card detected.
for you. Now sometimes people ask me, hey Marco, performing magic, is that like a 9-to-5 job? Of course not, I have to practice 24/7. I mean, maybe 24 hours, 7 days a week is a little bit of an exaggeration. 24/7, I don't know. But some people would say magic, hey, that must be the work of some evil supernatural force. But it really isn't that intense. I have to warn you though, if you ever play with somebody who deals cards like this, don't play for money.
Why not? That's a very good hand. The odds of getting it are 4,165 to 1.
Okay, but my hand is better. I guess we beat the odds.
I think you got your birthday wish.
And that leaves me with the last and most important card of all. And unlike anything you've just seen, virtual or not, this
Signed
is
card
without a
detected.
question the real thing. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. So, magic has a lot to offer for the creative mind. Some scientists are picking up on that and are reviving interest in the psychology of deception as applied by magicians. but I think in a way that is looking backwards, or perhaps scientifically inwards. For me, the most progress is going to be made by magic embracing other arts and crafts and creating new illusions, new magical experiences. The skills that magicians have in understanding the behavior of their audience, problem solving, creating interactive illusions and pre-visualizing future technologies can be put to uses that I hope will gain magic a firmer place amongst our artistic peers. Thank you very much.